Hi guys, welcome back to Y'all Hearing This. My name is Kay. Thank you so much for coming and joining us over here on Patreon. Excited to get into some more lore. We're doing part 2 of Stray Kids. I'm just going through Bookish Theory's playlist for Stray Kids. So we're going to do Double Knot. Hold on, let me pull up the playlist here. All right, so Double Knot meaning explained, Astronaut meaning explained, Levanter, Concept Theory, Map for Broken Compass, and then Levanter lyrics and MV explained. So yeah, a couple of videos on this, and we'll just kind of keep going through the list and do like part 3, part 4, however many parts we need to do. But anyway, I'm excited. Let's get into it.
Hello and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video, I would like to talk about Stray Kids' newest single, Double Knot, focusing on a little breakdown and analysis of both the lyrics and the music video. Double Knot is a song that deals with the themes of freedom and self-empowerment. In the lyrics, the members contextualize the simple action of tying their shoes with a double knot into a narrative that describes their desire to break free from the constrictions of society and take control over whatever direction they take in life. This imagery was already foreshadowed in the Chronosaurus music video, where they also found the key they used in the elevator side effects teaser to access the Yellowwoods, which is a place they got stuck in after losing the key. In Double Knot, Stray Kids continue this story by showing us the aftermath of what happened then. Now, Stray Kids' storyline is quite complex because if on the one hand it deals with the metaphorical inner journey that is centered around them understanding who they are in relation to the world that surrounds them, on the other the story is set in a dystopic maze-like reality the boys are trying to escape. Since their universe is comprised of different dimensions
I do really
that
like their
overlap with each
storyline.
other, the boys' journey to freedom is causing a series of glitches
not like
that are
a-
escalating as the story progresses.
That's what I'm
In
looking
side
for.
effects, it was
Linear,
quite obvious
you know?
that their attempts at escaping the maze implied dangerous consequences that affected them personally. And in Double Knot, this idea is further developed in both the lyrics and the music video. At the beginning, Han opens by saying that he's shaking off the confused worries in his head because the direction he's taking doesn't matter anymore. These lines are immediately very interesting because they perfectly continue the narrative already presented in Side Effects. In that song, the boys explore the theme of confusion in relation to uncontrollable change, and the lyrics heavily relied on imagery that recalls Han's lines. In Side Effects, the world was changing around them and they were changing with it. Their head hurt, their vision was blurry, and the song offered no resolution to their suffering. In Double Knot, however, the solution is here. After enduring the side effects of change, the boys are now embracing it by freeing themselves from their worries. As we'll see in a second, this could have both positive and negative connotations. But
Memory
for
of the
now,
song
the
stuck in my
feeling
head
they
all
are
day.
expressing is very liberating because their mindset is changing. Since they don't care anymore, they have become active agents of their life. They have become the directors of their personal masterpiece and they will lead it in whatever direction they want. In a sense, this idea was already foreshadowed in My Pace. In that song, they overcame jealousy and envy by expressing their resolution to lead their life without comparing themselves to others. And in Double Knot, they doubled down on this idea by expressing a desire for rebellion in connection to the standards dictated by society. When it comes to the storyline, these themes are conveyed in what seems like an episode of passage between Side Effects and Astronaut, which is the title of their next single shown in this shot here. The word astronaut is also associated with the words take off, which appear twice in the video, and this could possibly foreshadow the title track of Play Levanter, thus already connecting their future songs in their current storyline. In the video we see 9 keys on a table, but the shot is in black and white, which could possibly mean that it's a flashback. I say this because in Chronosaurus the black and white is very dominant, and the song was about being afraid of time and the changes it brings. In the past, maybe they had the 9 keys they needed, but in Side Effects they lost one, which proves their fear correct. In Double Knot, however, Yoonjin finds another key which they later use to open a door. Here things get interesting because judging by the way the scene is shot, it looks like two different versions of Stray Kids are on the opposite ends of the door. This is very interesting and also very confusing. On a general level, it seems like the realities the boys visit are located in vertical order, which is why they use the elevator to go up and down. The lower they go, the worse it gets, but there's also the double moon to take into account, which implies that the different dimensions are not just one on top of the other, but also one next to the other. This makes sense in the context of the maze imagery they use to define their fictional universe, but it also makes it more difficult for us to understand what's going on. So let's take a step back and try to make sense of all of this. In the ZFX teaser and MV, we see them descending into Yellow Wood, which is a dimension located further down the dystopia we were shown in Miro. So despite the initially joyful atmosphere, we get the sense that it's not gonna be a pleasant stay. In the teaser, we see two alternative outcomes of the same event. One group of Stray Kids boards the bus and continues the journey without problems. But the Stray Kids we follow in side effects continue the journey on their own, and while they travel, the side effects of their stay start affecting them. These visuals possibly foreshadow the idea that the very environment they are visiting is toxic in some way. And if I'm correct, then Double Knot shows the consequences of this toxicity. While the lyrics focus on rebellion in relation to their environment, the underlying feeling of carelessness in regards of what direction they take also implies a sense of disorder. Since nobody controls them, they can do whatever they want. But if they don't care about anything, then the choice they make can be dangerous. If we connect this back to the side effects teaser, then we have a good example of the butterfly effect. That is the idea that even the most insignificant choice can lead to huge consequences. The choice of not taking the bus led them to where they are now. But somewhere under the other moon, another version of Stray Kids exists, and they are those on the other side of the door. This would also make sense in the light of the glitches and in connection to this scene in Double Knot, when we see the members duplicating as they move. This scene visually represents the idea that every choice you make creates a different version of you based on your choices. And I think that Double Knot is showing the endless possibilities their newly found freedom is granting them. As I said earlier, however, this freedom could be positive and could be negative, because if the yellow wood is toxic, that means that whether they like it or not, the environment affects them. The only difference is that now they don't care, and this could be a problem in the future. The very last shot is very interesting, I think, because while one side tries to open the door, the choreography shows the yellow version posing resistance imitating the double knot gesture. This could confirm that this careless freedom is not entirely positive, because by freeing themselves while under the effects of yellow wood, they could also free parts of themselves they are not gonna like. So that's it for me today. What did you think of Double Knot? I was thinking about doing a bigger explanation video about the Stray Kids storyline. So if that's something you would like to see, let me know in the comments down below.
I'll have to look and see if she did that.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please think about liking and subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye. I love her voice.
Hello and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video I would like to talk about Stray Kids Astronaut, focusing on a little breakdown and analysis of both the lyrics and the music video. Astronaut is a song that deals with the theme of overcoming your fear and embracing your youth and freedom in order to fulfill your dreams. The lyrics use a lot of space imagery to reinforce the idea of them going on a journey that will lead them among the stars. The astronaut here is a metaphor for their adventure. Now that they got rid of fear, the possibilities are endless. Their destiny is in their hands, and they will make the best out of this opportunity by reaching places nobody has ever reached before. This is a very optimistic song. The message here is that fear is something that limits you and your possibilities. But if you find a way to control it, then there's literally nothing that can stop you. This idea is perfectly conveyed in the music video, where we see the boys ascending to a higher level of the maze they are trying to escape. In the past videos, we got the sense that the lower they went, the more dangerous it got. But here they are going up, so it should be interpreted as a sign that things will be better from now on. Since it's Stray Kids we are talking about, however, there's obviously something sketchy about all of this. So let's start from the beginning to see what's going on. Now the video is very interesting because as it progresses, we see that they are making references to the past videos in order to show us the journey that led them to become astronauts and get rid of fear. The video opens with the boys playing on a rooftop. This is a very happy moment because they are portraying the youth and freedom they mention in the lyrics. The scene is a callback to I Am You. And this makes me think that the reason why they managed to get rid of fear in the first place is because they found themselves in each other and in you. This is very telling because it shows you how important friendship and support are in order to achieve your dreams. And this scene is made even better by the fact that Woojin made it into the final cut. So this is a very happy moment indeed. Things, however, are not as peachy as they look, because while the others are playing, Hyunjin finds a marble on the floor. This could be the map they mention in the lyrics, but it's also something that connects us to the message they included in the track list. There, they say that they are living in a happy time. But then they find a strange marble, they hear a sound and start to follow it. This is exactly what happens in the video, but what does it mean? Well, at first glance, it seems like they're going back in time. When Hyunjin is in the building, we see scenarios that recall different stages of their adventure. At first, we see red curtains that could recall elevator and the beginning of the journey. After that, we see boxes that glitch into a maze, which is something that signals the beginning of the Class series. Here, Felix's shot mirrors the one in Miro almost completely, and much like in that song, Bang-chan is holding a walkie-talkie. After that, Hyunjin sees the vehicle they rode in side effects and some of the members held in a cage. This is the point of the story where they are stuck in the yellow wood, but Hyunjin goes through it and eventually finds his way out. Here, things start to get tricky.
I haven't seen like half these
suspended road while a storm
heard the songs a million times, but
eventually he runs down this road and manages to find the others. But how do we interpret the things that happened before? Well, on the one hand, the scenes I just mentioned could be a metaphor for them reminiscing about their journey and moving on after overcoming their difficulties. This would also make sense in the light of the lyrics, because in the song the focus is on the idea that they are not scared anymore, that they want to explore and be young and free. So it's plausible that what we see is the representation of them growing up and maturing. This interpretation, however, makes sense right until the Ayan in the cage becomes aware of Hyunjin's presence. If he's just a memory, this should not be possible, so this leads me to believe that something different is actually taking place. In my theory video about Double Knot, I theorized that the different versions of the boys we see starting from side effects could be a sign that there are multiple groups of stray kids walking around in the maze. In the side effects teaser, we saw them splitting into two different timelines, and the end of Double Knot is shot in a way that foreshadows the idea that two groups of stray kids are on each side of the door. If I'm correct, this would be due to the fact that the choice they made in the side effects teaser led them to different outcomes, and I think that Astronaut is portraying the very same concept. On the one hand, we see the happy stray kids playing around and managing to move on with their adventure. On the other, however, we see another version of them that is still trapped in the lower levels of the maze. This idea would also be confirmed by the visual callback we find in this shot here. This is the same storage room used by Bang-chan in his Yellowwood promo. What's interesting here is that back then the track he was playing was Road Not Taken. Could this mean that Astronaut is actually showing us the road not taken, that is, an alternative to what we've seen until now? The song seems to confirm this as well. The focus here is on fear and on the importance to overcome it. If you overcome fear, you can move on and become anything you want. But if you don't, you get stuck because fear blocks you. This is exactly what happens to the stray kids Hyunjin meets on his way. They are stuck because they are scared, but Hyunjin is not. He faces his fear by running into the unknown, and eventually he is rewarded. I think that this part shows you how important it is to take risks sometimes. The only way you can become an astronaut is to be brave and realize your potential. But you have to do it your way at your own pace. And this is why the members reach Bang-chan one by one. While friendship is important to reach your goals, this is a journey you have to do on your own, even if sometimes it's not easy. This brings us to the end of the video, where we see the boys leaving one member behind. Can we all agree that this is all a bit too soon? Anyway, the fact that Ayan is the only one left is very interesting, because if you remember, he's the only one who acknowledges Hyunjin in the building. The fact that the Ayan we stuck is self-aware while the other stays behind, to me looks like he's not ready to move on yet. The scenes of the other members looking happy could mean that it was his choice to stay behind. But if we go back to the message in the track list, things could be different than what they look like. In the message, they say that they hear a sound and they follow it unconsciously, almost like they are hypnotized by it. Could this mean that the others have fallen into a trap? When they leave, there is an IN with them, but it's not the original one. Is it possible that that's the one we see in the building? Well, we'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please think about liking and subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye! Hello and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video, I would like to talk about the teasers and trailers for Stray Kids Clé Levante, focusing on a little breakdown and analysis of the videos, what we could expect from the upcoming comeback, and how 3RACHA's Broken Compass may have been foreshadowing Levante all along. There's a lot to unpack here, so I think that the first thing that we need to do is to understand what Levante actually means and how is it connected to the Stray Kids concept. Levante is an easterly wind that blows in the Mediterranean Sea, and its name derives from the Latin verb levare, which means to rise. This is a reference to the eastern direction of the rising sun, and because of that, in literature and poetry, this wind is often used as a symbol of change, transformation, and renewal. If we consider this in the light of the Stray Kids concept, the title choice could imply that the key of this album opens the door to the part of their journey where they rise and finally unlock their true selves. This would also be confirmed by the second teaser released for the comeback. In the video,
love all their teasers and everything. It's so much fun.
Track, and the lyrics say, "I wanna be myself," which further reinforces the idea that the journey we are seeing is meant to lead them to free themselves, both in the physical world and in the inner one. This journey, however, is not easy because, as the map they recently released shows us, the compass they are using to navigate through the world they live in is a broken one. We'll come back to this in a second, but for now, let's focus on the map. Now, this map shows the different stages of their journey leading up to Levante. We see the field with the suspended city we saw in Elevator, the bus they used to escape in District 9, the tunnel we see in My Pace, the building with 2 moons we see in IMU and Astronaut, the dystopia we visit in Miro, the Yellowwood chapter of their adventure, the drone that observes them in Double Knot, and last but not least, we see the world that we supposedly visit in Levante. Now, this is good and all, right? But when I first saw this map, the first thing that I thought was that it was too easy. In the videos, we see the boys accessing the worlds they visit through the elevator, which implies that the different realities that we see are not only one next to the other, but also one on top of the other. The world Stray Kids live in is a maze, so the different places they visit are all mixed with one another, because that's what a maze literally is. The map, however, shows the journey at ground level and in order, which doesn't make sense unless, that is, we read the map on a more metaphorical way. The fact that it's called Map of Broken Compass here is an important clue, I think, because Broken Compass is a song that 3RACHA released in 2017, and that here is more relevant than ever. In the lyrics, the boys say that they are confused because the road they have ahead of them is divided into hundreds of different paths without a solution. This is them foreshadowing the maze concept, but also them telling us how difficult it is to find your place in the world when
it is tough to make right decisions when you know every decision leads to another decision leads to another decision.
About being confused and overwhelmed by the pressure of making the right decision. Much like what happens in the storyline, the journey they are talking about in the song is a very difficult one. But they have music and they have each other by their side, and this is why they can rely on a broken compass. They can rely on it because the real compass they are following is their friendship and their passion. And I think that the map is showing us exactly that. The map here shows their attempt to put order into the maze they live in. And even if they are following a broken compass, this direction is the right one because their friendship empowers them and turns them into the captains of their own adventure. This is important because this concept was also at the center of the recent performance at the V-Live Awards 2019. In the performance, the boys reference the movie Dead Poets Society, which is about the importance to live in the
I love that
moment
movie.
without worrying
If you have
about
not
what
seen it,
people think
please
of
go
your
watch it.
choices.
So
In
good.
the movie, as well as in the performance, there is a reference to O Captain, My Captain, which is a poem by Walt Whitman which strongly recalls the lyrics of Broken Compass. The focus here is on the importance of friendship and being true to yourself. And in the trailer, this concept is further developed by showing the boys slowly coming together at a crossroads. Throughout the video, each member is associated to a specific part of their journey. And as the video progresses, we see them finding each other and helping each other out despite the environment tries to keep them apart. This basically confirms what I've been saying up to this point. But since with Stray Kids nothing is that straightforward, there are also some clues that hint at the fact that something sketchy is taking place as well. Now, in the teasers and the trailer, I think that we are seeing two different groups of Stray Kids walking around. We have the ones who fought back in Yellowwood and then we also followed in Double Knot, and the ones who appear in Astronaut. Even if the two groups appear in both Double Knot and Astronaut, this is the first time that we see them in the same environment without anything in between.
That's funny.
So to me, this looks like the two versions of them will come together
In
very
the movie
soon.
they just
A
did.
lot of people think that the second group of Stray Kids are actually
Oh my
clones.
goodness.
But to be honest, I'm not really
Why am I
sold
forgetting
on this
his name?
idea because
It
I
has,
think that all
wounds.
of them are actually real. The way I see it,
Top
the
right.
split that started from
My
the
God.
Yellowwood trailer is a representation of how the choices you make can lead you to a different path. And since the Stray Kids world is a
Lino,
multidimensional
wow.
maze, this idea is translated visually
That
with
was my
them
brain just
actually
now.
duplicating. This does not mean that one group is good and that the other is bad, but that they represent different parts of the same person that are reaching the same goal through different measures. This idea falls perfectly in line with the meaning of Levante. If the next album is gonna be about the boys embracing their true self, this means that they have to embrace all parts of themselves, both the ones who help each other out and the ones that from time to time fight each other as well. This is the true revolution, I think. In the universe they are portraying in the videos, the boys are constantly monitored, and in the trailer we see the world shifting almost as if they don't want this reunion to happen. This makes sense because being true to yourself, that is, living fully and becoming your own person, is the biggest threat to society, so I think that this is the idea that they are going for here. In the intro to Levante, Bang Chan mentions the line of a poem by Paul Valery called The Graveyard by the Sea. This line says, "The wind is rising, we must try to live." And once again, this connects us back to the same
Levante.
concept expressed in Dead Poets Society. In the interview, Chan also says that a character from a book experienced the Levante the way they mean it. And I think that here he's referencing Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist. In that book, the protagonist embarks on a journey to self-discovery after having a dream and feeling the Levante arising. The wind is what pushes him to live in order to find what in the book is referred to as his personal legend, which is basically the ultimate goal of someone's life. What is interesting here is that the journey of the protagonist eventually leads him to the pyramids of Giza. And sure enough, in the Stray Kids trailer we see pyramids constantly being referenced. This means that much like in The Alchemist, the Levante is pushing Stray Kids to seek their true self as individuals and achieve self-accomplishment as a group. But this is easier said than done, because they first need to come to terms with the different parts of themselves still walking around. To know if I'm right or wrong, however, we'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please think about liking and subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.
She's so cute.
Hello and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video I would like to talk about Stray Kids' newest title track Levante, focusing on a little breakdown and analysis of the lyrics and the music video, and on how Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist can help us understand what's going on. This book is a major influence
I
in
actually
this
have to say
comeback,
I've
but
never
in order
read that.
for me to explain you how, I have to spoil it for you. So in case you don't want any spoilers, you are safe up until this time right here. Now, Levanta is a song that deals with the themes of letting go of the past and embracing your true self in order to achieve freedom and self-accomplishment. In many respects, the song represents the epilogue of the journey Stray Kids have been portraying since the very beginning. In the video, we see the boys finally escaping the maze. And while to some people it may seem like there are many questions left unanswered, to me, Levanter is the best ending we could have hoped for. Because if on the one hand it gives us closure, on the other it shows us that the story they were trying to tell us was far less convoluted than we might have thought. In my theory video about the Levanter concept, I said that the point of the Stray Kids storyline was to portray a journey to freedom, not just from the physical maze they were trapped in, but from the constrictions of society that kept them from being true to themselves. The maze concept here is an allegory, that is a symbolical journey used to highlight how the different choices you make can affect your life and yourself. The different versions of Stray Kids that we've been seeing throughout the journey were the visual representation of different possible paths towards the same destination. And in Levanter, we finally see them all reuniting and moving on together, both as a group and as single individuals. This makes sense because the title itself foreshadows a moment of change. The Levanter is an easterly wind that is often used as a symbol of renewal and transformation, and the lyrics perfectly convey this idea by showing us the boys coming to terms with their true identity and finding the light within themselves. Taken out of context, the song seems to be about them moving on from a toxic relationship and discovering that instead of helping them, the other person was actually holding them back. In the lyrics, the focus is on how important they thought the other person was in achieving their goals, on how scared they were of letting them go. But as the song progresses, we find out that the absence of this person was what they needed in the first place. Once they are left alone, the boys are finally able to understand who they truly are, and that the only person they need to achieve their dreams is actually themselves. Coming to terms with this realization, however, is not easy, but as Felix says, it's all good now, because they finally understood what's important and what's not. In the context of the storyline, the lyrics could also be read as them actually referring to the role they played within the maze. In the video, we see many callbacks to their past eras. We see the multiple versions of themselves coming together, but also the maze actually self-destroying as they leave it. To me, these visuals are heavily connected to the glitch concept. In the past, the underlying idea was that the boys represented some kind of glitch within the system, that they were rebelling and therefore threatening the system they were trying to escape. But the very fact that they interacted with it actually made them part of it, and therefore part of the problem they were trying to solve. Up to this point, their goal was to escape the maze, so this is the only thing that actually defined them. Now instead, they are letting go of it. They are thinking about themselves as individuals and not as part of a flawed system that they need to fix. And because of that, the maze collapses and they are able to escape. Much like what the lyrics say, their dream was like a tunnel they were locked in, and that's because it was the result of the role the system forced them to play. Once you stop the world from telling you who you are, then you are able to discover it for real. And if you do, then your personal maze is destroyed because you refuse to follow
Not just being
its
reactive,
rules.
but being
active. This is what I
active.
think it's happening in the video, and the fact that we don't see any glitches seems to confirm this as well. Now the boys are not glitches anymore, they are just themselves. They are free and they are victorious, which is what the eagle on top of the final door actually symbolizes. If we take into account what we've been seeing up to this point, this could also explain the scene between Ayan and Bang Chan. Now, in the astronaut music video, we saw that one version of Ayan was left behind, one left with the others, and another one was in a cage. In Levanta, however, we see only 2 out of the 3 coming together, which means that the third one is still trapped somewhere within the maze. Up to this point, I actually thought that the one who left with them was meant to be some sort of evil clone that would try to stop them from escaping. But now I think that all the Ayans that we see are the same person. The one who was left behind represents the part of him that is still unsure about the future and is still attached to the illusion of the dream. But eventually, the other Ayan still crosses over because his friends are with him. This is important because in the journey they are portraying, friendship is the real key. When they are with each other, the boys can be themselves. And this was the case since the very beginning. To each other, they were never glitches. They were just themselves. And now they can be themselves in peace without having to worry about anything else. At this point, you might be wondering if this is the end. The video closes with them going back to the field we see at the end of Elevator. But does this mean that we're back to square one? And what's up with the pyramids? Well, in order to answer these questions, we have to take a look at Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist. The book is about an allegorical journey of a shepherd boy who has a dream about a treasure hidden under the pyramids of Giza. An alchemist convinces him to go on a journey to find it, because that's the only way he can fulfill his personal legend, which basically means that that's the only way he can achieve self-accomplishment. When the Levanter arises, the boy leaves for the journey, but when he arrives at the pyramids, he discovers that there wasn't any treasure at all. The real treasure was the journey itself. And the book ends with the boy back in the same place he was at the beginning, but still dreaming about his experience, thus foreshadowing that for him, the journey is far from over. Now, if we take a look at the MV in the light of this information, things actually start to become a little more clear. In the MV, we see that their next destination is a pyramid. That's their treasure, their goal, their personal legend, if you will. But as the video progresses, we see the boys actually letting go of it, and the ticket to the new world setting itself on fire. When they finally reach the pyramid, the structure self-destroys in front of their eyes. And this is because the new world the pyramid represents was part of the dream they are now letting go of. This dream was the dream of those who were trying to escape the maze. But now they are not defined by the maze anymore. Now they know who they are beside what society told them to be. And at the end they are back at the beginning as changed people. As the shot of the moons coming together suggests, now they have achieved inner balance. They are not divided anymore. And much like what happens in the book, the ending of this journey only implies the beginning of a new one featuring them as new and accomplished individuals. So that's it from me today.
That was
I hope you guys enjoyed this.
I really like her videos. They're just like well put together, and I feel like she really backs up her theories, you know. So that's cool. It's so funny. I need to go back and watch some of these MVs because I really don't know that I've seen like half of them. I definitely haven't seen Astronaut. I don't think I've seen Levanter. And like, I really like that song, so I don't know why not. Yeah, maybe I just need to do like a whole Stray Kids playlist or something. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. I really am loving these lore videos. I know not a lot of people watch them, or they watch some, but not all of them. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I want to continue them, but obviously I want to do something that you guys are interested in watching. So please let me know if you are watching. And if so, if there are certain groups you want me to cover or whatnot. But anyways, thank you guys. Love you. See you next time. Bye.